5 chairside tables, your choice just $99 each. Serta says buy a mattress and they'll give you a free box springs, or you can save up to $800 on an adjustable bed base. Lazy Boy has savings on every recliner, sofa, and sectional, and that's just where it starts. You'll save on bedrooms, dining rooms, home office and entertainment, more living room and leather, and there are lots of ways to pay, including interest-free options. You know, I like the sound of all this, and I know you do too. Getting more choices, more selection, and more deals. Family and Friends 55th Anniversary Labor Day deals at Herb Hayes Furniture and Mattress on the Boulevard, Hopkinsville.
And good morning, and welcome to another edition of Tiger Sports Talk with Gator and DT, brought to you by Trice Hughes Chevrolet. We've got another outstanding show set up for you this Friday morning. We got some very special guests in the studio here at WPKY 103.3 The Tiger. And before we get into interviewing some of our other fall sports coaches, let's get a promo in here. It's an awful big day here in Caldwell County, and we have our first home football game against Franklin Simpson Wildcats. Game time is 7 p.m. Franklin Simpson is ranked, I believe, number 5 in Class 4A. They're bringing in a 1-0 record, and of course last week we were defeated by a very good Christian County team down at the Jerry Claiborne Bowl there in Hopkinsville. But we want to, invite you to come out tonight. We need a very big crowd and a very electric atmosphere to get this football team turned around and get their first win under the belt. Dennis, last week, let's just recap a little bit from last week's Jerry Claiborne Bowl. You and I were able to travel across to Hopkinsville, and we were able to view not just one of the games, but both of the games. And there was 4 outstanding teams there. Hopkinsville and Graves County played in the first game. Christian County and Caldwell played in the second game. And I can't say enough about the crowd that Caldwell County brought to that game, and Graves County. I think that those two together could have been over on the home side and pretty near filled that place up. But we had an outstanding crowd. There's a good atmosphere. The only thing that, they were long games. I think the very first game was over 3 hours, and our game was about 3 hours. And, of course, when you got 4 teams that throw the ball as much as they do, and we had some outstanding quarterbacks. Probably 4 of the top quarterbacks in Western Kentucky was playing in that game. But give us what you got out of the game and what's your thoughts about the Caldwell County and Christian County game.
I was kind of pretty much exactly about what you said, but the Hopkinsville had the athletes and Christian County had the athletes. We have quite a few. To me, Graves is the same old team they have. They're going to beat you if they can control the ball. If they don't control the ball, then they're not going to. I don't believe going to play with people like they played with the other night. I enjoyed watching them. I enjoyed watching the athletes. I thought the quarterback for Christian County, he has improved since a couple years ago when we saw him over there. When what was it, about a basketball game, 70-something to 50-something?
Correct. As a freshman.
But getting back to the Franklin Simpson game real quick, back when you and I were coaching back in that area, Warren East and Allen County, they were always tough. It was hard to play those guys, and that was back when Joker played. Joker Phillips was on Franklin Simpson's team, and now you go ahead. He's got a
nephew that's playing, Josiah Roby. And he'll be number 4 tonight. And last week, I believe, against Portland, Tennessee, he had 4 touchdowns and rushed for over 100 and something yards and nearly 200 yards. And if he's anything like Joker was in high school, we know we're going to have our hands full with him. But he's a nice young man, and I talked to Joker this week and told him about WPKYonline.com so he can watch the game live there up at Ohio State University is where he's at now under Urban Meyer. So we're going to have some viewers, quite a few viewers probably from different states, and we're always glad to have them.
As times have changed, though, and we're getting older, well, the coaches that we knew at Franklin Simpson are still in the area, I think most of them, but I don't believe any of them are coaching anymore. But Walt Heath, just to mention, he played for Western Kentucky back before I got there, but he played well back at the time Johnny Jaggers played.
Yeah.
They were in that area, our era. So, but we'll hopefully get to see some of those guys, and all of you come out tonight, and it ought to be a good ball game. Franklin's always pretty strong.
They're always a strong traditional football team, and back in the 80s, I guess, early 80s, they won 2 or 3 straight championships there. And, of course, James Shade Tree Matthews was a longtime coach, and the stadium's named after him now. And Bill Wool Johnson. You mentioned some of their staff. They've had their staff together for years and years, and they kept them, and that's what it takes. It's kind of like Mayfield. Mayfield's had the same staff together, and schools that were able to do that are the ones that are most successful.
We'll get started here with our first guest, the volleyball coach, and there went Randy Durra down the road. I know he's not listening, but he waved at us. Mr. Cortner here, we've known their family forever. I grew up with his daddy. He was 2 years older than me, but his mama was my age. And then Will, one of his brothers, was my son's age. So we've been around the Cortners a long time. Daniel, we're glad to have you, buddy.
Yes, sir. Appreciate the opportunity.
Well, Coach, Daniel Cortner, the head volleyball coach of the girls team, and he played football for us back. He and all of his brothers, all 3 of them. Comes from a real good family, and we really appreciate you coming in. And tell us a little bit about your volleyball team this year.
This year we are, I think, 5-2 starting out. We've gone down to Owensboro Apollo, made a pretty good showing there that first weekend of the season. I have about 4 or 5 good returning starters from this year, and then we're mixing in a couple of sophomores and all the way down to an 8th grader last night that started for us. Kind of had an off summer. Hadn't had my full roster yet. It doesn't feel like. We were talking earlier last week. I think I had 5 or 6 missed for different kinds of sicknesses and things like that. I've had a couple out, so I'm still yet to see my full product on the court, and still mixing and trying to do some changes and look and see. But I've got a very fun, a very fast-paced group that just plays with a lot of energy when things are going right. They are a little temperamental, just like most high school kids when things don't go their way, but they can pretty well center that and turn it around. I've got Carly Peak in the middle is a left-handed ball player, and in volleyball you usually try to put them in a strategic spot on the right side where it's more natural for them, and she's playing in front of the setter, and as a left-hander that puts pretty much everything backwards. It just doesn't look right, it doesn't feel right, but she's a pretty good athlete that has managed to figure that out over the last couple of years. Probably my cornerstone is Katie Van Hoosier. She's been a setter for 3 years now, and by my math, any game now she'll take over the all-time set assist leader at Caldwell, which is with the setters we've had come through is going to be a major accomplishment for that. Got a couple of young ball players are moving around and got probably one of the best back row defenses in the region. Those 3 or 4 DSs, the defensive specialists that I have back there, have started for 3 years now, and they've earned their stripes, and we're pretty well seasoned back there in the back row. So they can play at a good fast tempo and get the ball pretty well under control, and from there it's just up to Katie to get it to the right hitter at the right time.
Well, I'm going to apologize to you and your team for not having to see them play this year or even last year, but I've watched it on the Olympics every time it was on, and let me tell you, it was exciting, and I'm going to make it down there. If your kids can even come close to making some of the saves and
They do.
Do we have
dive
a beach
on the
volleyball
floor,
team?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how some of them save some of those balls that they dive and they hit their hand on it. The ball pops up and here we keep going. But it was very interesting.
Yeah, they don't really. It looks sometimes they don't really care about their body because they'll throw it around all wherever, and they don't care what they bounce off of or who they run into.
Well, one thing I want to ask real quick. I told Gator I was going to ask this. There was always one with a different colored shirt.
Yes, sir.
Seemed like, is that a setter or what is that?
They call it the libero or the libero, depending on which side of the ocean you're on.
Right.
But they are a defensive specialist. In high school ball, you're limited to 18 substitutions a game. and they don't count her subs. So she can freely sub on and off. It was kind of a speed of play. It allowed you to specialize a certain player at a certain position and just made the game overall better. They can only play in the back row, and that the jersey is for the officials to tell where she is on the court, what she can and can't do as far as hitting and setting and things along those lines. But it's a defensive specialist that can serve for one of the ball players at times, and it really made the game a lot better when they instituted that rule.
Gator, we should have interviewed him before the Olympics. Then I'd have had an idea of what was going on, except for people slamming the ball.
Exactly. Daniel, let's talk a little bit about the volleyball program in general, how it got started. Of course, several years ago, a lady named Sue Stone has started the volleyball program, just did an outstanding job. And, of course, over the course of the years, we're one of the top teams in the region. We've been to the state on numerous occasions, and, of course, we've won the region, I don't know how many times, 4 or 5?
I think 5.
5 times. And, of course, you got to credit a lot of that to Sue, who got the program going. This is your second year, I believe, as head coach. So talk a little bit about how the program got started and how you got involved.
In 2002, which would have been my senior year, they started, so 2001, 2002. They started down at the Butler, the great teams from the Butler with no air. Never played a home game before Labor Day because you couldn't get in there. But she started the team that year. She played in high school up in Northern Kentucky, played in college, and went through and got down here when she moved, and had always played. She kind of ran the Fredonia and the Lyon County outdoor games and Founders Day and Fredonia Festival tournaments and stuff. So she was in the game and had a name for it. When she started the team here, I think she only had 8 or 9 kids that first year come out. But luckily it was the right 8 or 9. Second year she had a lot of success. She always tells a story that she'd wheel a TV over to the side of the court and put in the tape in the VCR and say, "This is the drill we're going to run," and then they'd step out on the court and run it because it was so new to everybody that they had to see it in order to do it. She got me involved in the spring of 2008 and 2009 seasons. Just asked me one night in passing if I wanted to coach, and I said, "I've always wanted to coach something, but I don't know anything about your sport." And she said, "Well, I'll teach you the sport, but you know how to win." And a credit to you is one of my former coaches. That's something that was instilled in me at a very young age, is to look at something, figure out how I'm going to win it, and then go do it. And I'm probably one of the few people in town that played on a state championship team and coached on one. We got to 2010, went to the Class A, and in one day beat 3 top 15 teams in the state. And they won the Class A state title in 2010. And now it's kind of odd, 2 of the girls off of that team are on my staff. So it's kind of showing the gray hairs on a few plays. But it's been a learning process. I've pretty much buried myself in it, going to coaches clinics in the summer and reading everything you can read, because it's such a fun, fast sport that it's not just 2 or 3 motions and you can excel. There's so many different levels that you have to be able to excel on, and different positions and things. And I like how difficult it can be at times. It's a challenge to coach it. But
also you said it makes you show you how old you are, but it makes you feel good too to know that your kids come back and they can help you, and it makes a difference. That was one of our bigger things too. We look out and see all these little league coaches and that went through the program when we were there, and whether they learn anything or not, at least they're staying with it. That's that's the great part about it.
The group that she started and the culture that she made is you name the regional championships. I think we're at 15 or 16 players that have come through and played college ball, signed and played some college ball. But the big thing is, last year out of 28 kids, 7 of them had 4.0s. And to sit here and say that,
you got to be pretty smart to play that game.
Yes, sir. And it's something that they take pride in, and it's one less stress. I know I never really made very good grades, and it was something that I always had to worry about, and I'd get in trouble when I'd go home for. And when you stand there in a coach's circle or something after practice, and you don't have to say, "Go home and do your homework, get to class tomorrow and show up," that's a speech I never have to give these young ladies. And they don't, they're out on the weekends, they're at home on time. They don't start. They're very well behaved. You don't read about them in the backside of the paper and things along those lines. But it's been a joy coaching these young ladies and watching them grow.
So when Sue was showing those films or other things, when she showed them what to do, she didn't have to show it but once.
Not really,
And
no,
then
sir.
they look at it and they can say, okay, let's go do it.
And that's what I told them this year.
It was a little different with us, though.
Well, in the other
We'd have
part
to
of-
show it after,
Well,
time
right.
after time.
Then they'd ask us to go out and show us how to do it. Well, we couldn't do it either.
One of the big things that I'm, being from outside the sport is you get to kind of think outside the box. And one of the big things that I've brought in is film. I remember Sunday afternoons, we would walk in, and from Friday night to Sunday afternoon, you all had broke down countless plays. And I remember Coach Curlin say out of the 1,200 times they lined up in this formation, this is what they're going to run on this play. And when you stand out there, you see it coming, you know it's coming. And I don't think there's a better teaching tool than film. When you tell them, hey, you're not doing this and that, and then you show them on film, they go, oh, he was right. and it's something that they've enjoyed learning the last couple of years. They laugh because it's play, rewind, play, rewind, play, rewind.
Daniel, let's end this up here. Just tell us a little bit about your district and who you. I know last night was your first district game against Madisonville, and how do we stack up this year in district competition?
District, we are the favorite again. Madisonville, we beat them last night in 4 sets. High school, you play 3 out of 5. We beat them in 3-1 last night. Hopkins Central, we'll see them next week here at home on the 30th. And be able to see what they've got. I hadn't seen them this year. They've got, I know, 2 pretty good ball players, so that's going to be something that's a little nervous. I don't like playing teams I don't know, but we should be doing fine in the district. It's the regular season seeds the postseason, so it's always big to get those early season district wins.
Well, it's been awful nice of you to come in and tell us a little bit about your volleyball team, and we want to wish you the best of luck throughout the season, and hopefully you'll get that region crown and district crown.
I hope so, too.
Let's take a short break here from our sponsors, and we'll be back to talk to the boys and girls soccer coaches.
Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel.
It's that time of year again. Soon leaves will be falling, football and deer season is right around the corner. And when those little critters get stirring around, sometimes our vehicles get in their way. Whenever that happens, Trice Hughes Incorporated hopes you remember our body shop to get you back on the road. We offer free estimates, 3-stage paint process that is guaranteed as long as you own your vehicle, and certified technicians that together offer 115 years of combined experience. We keep rental vehicles readily available, so even if your car is out of commission, you don't have to be. Trice Hughes Incorporated, Highway 91 North in Princeton. Let's talk OnStar. Most GM vehicles, maybe even yours, are now equipped with OnStar. The benefits of OnStar are immeasurable when it comes to saving your life and the lives of your loved ones, helping locate your vehicle in the event that you can't, and navigating you when you are lost. OnStar offers automatic crash response that sends emergency responders to your location even if you can't speak. Stolen vehicle assistance will locate your vehicle immediately in the unfortunate case in which someone mistakes your vehicle for theirs. Turn-by-turn navigation is available to take you anywhere you want to go with the push of one blue button. And you can always stay connected when you activate OnStar 4G LTE and Wi-Fi hotspot on select vehicles. OnStar keeps you informed on your vehicle diagnostics and can even diagnose a problem as you are driving down the road. Activate OnStar on your eligible 2011 model year or newer vehicle today and get 3 months free plus 3 years free of their basic plan. Stop in Trice Hughes Incorporated today for details or assistance on your OnStar activation. Trice Hughes Incorporated, Highway 91 North in Princeton.
Back here at Tiger Sports Talk with Gator and DT, and our next guest here in the studio is our head girls soccer coach, Eric Jacobs. And we also have the head boys coach, Alan Shaffer, and his assistant, Matt Harper. Welcome to the show, and we're glad that you come in.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Let's begin with you, old man, Alan Shaffer. Alan was he was a student of mine, and when I came here in 1986, that was also the first year that Caldwell County started boys soccer. And Alan was on that very first soccer team there, and now he's been the head coach for how many years?
Oh,
10 or 11.
07, I guess. 9 years now.
9 years, and I know it's been a while. And you've done an excellent job with the program. And
Well, thank you.
tell us a little bit about your team this year.
We've got 4 seniors, several juniors. good group of kids. We've got a lot of potential to do pretty well this year. We kind of have our hot and cold. We're not
Right.
really.
Yeah.
We're either good, real good, or we're not so hot.
Right.
But we've only played now one full game and one full scrimmage. We had a couple games canceled.
Yeah. The rain got you, I believe.
Yeah, and I think that kind of hurt us a little bit to lose 2 games that first week of season. But we're coming along. I'm happy with where we are after last night, especially after that UHA game.
And that was a district game, correct?
That was a district
game. And I know you had lost a close one to University Heights in the All-A Classic.
We did.
And tell us a little bit about the overtime, or I call it overtime. I don't know.
Well, that was part of the All-A tournament, and in that tournament and all the district games, because we're a seeded district, the district games fall in with that too. You have to have a winner. You can't end the game in a tie. So what they do after the full 80 minutes, if it's tied, they'll play 2 5-minute overtime periods, or, well, during those 2 5-minute periods, it's a golden goal period. So if anybody scores the first minute, then it's over. That
Game's
team
over.
wins. It's not, you don't play the full time if there's a goal scored. But after those 2 5-minute periods, if it's still tied or nobody has scored, then they'll go to penalty shootout. And that's where we went. You choose 5 players, and they all 5 from each team shoot, which we did. And at the end of that, it was 4-4. We each had somebody miss or the keeper make a save. And then after that, we had to choose 5 different players than the original 5. And in that round, it's 1 for 1. So if your guy misses and there's hits, then it's over. And that's what happened to us. It was the first round of that second, or the first pairing of that second round. And their guy hit and ours missed. So that was it.
Okay. Tell us, who are some of your top performers on this year's team?
Will Darnell and Boyce Nichols are doing a really good job at the center back position. Beckett had a really good game last night, Beckett Schultz, and his brother keeps for us. Beckett's a junior, Barrett's a sophomore. Barrett was an all-region pick last year, and he's an outstanding keeper. I look for Caleb Riley to do a whole lot. He was injured in our first scrimmage, and he's going to try to start working his way back into practice today. Mitchell Scott traditionally has been a goal producer for us. There's several we have that really are going to contribute.
You mentioned Boyce Nichols. Does he kick for the football team?
He does.
Well, you know, that's one good thing, that we always had a good rapport between soccer and football.
Yeah.
I always had a kicker that played soccer.
Yeah.
And they'd always get their work in on Mondays and Thursdays, and then they were able to go participate in soccer. And I think, that's a good interlocking thing that you can have.
Well, it's good for the kids. You always want to do, we've had, I think, percentage-wise, we've had more kids be successful on the football field and getting offers to go to school somewhere to kick than we do with the ones who go on to play soccer. Maybe not more, but we have several kids. Logston last year is going to Wesleyan to kick. There was Jake Pepper played soccer one year, and that we had. Do you remember who that was? Somebody else kicked.
The Sears?
I had both Searses.
Let's see.
Dean and Dwayne.
That may be who
Dean
it
and
was.
Dwayne both kicked, and it seems like every year we had a kicker from the soccer team. Tell us.
Go ahead. Let me say, I know it'd be fun to go play soccer in college, but if you could go kick and not have to run, it looked like it'd be. I believe I'd take that offer too before I went.
Well, if you're worried about how much you got to run, soccer's not your sport.
You're exactly right. I'm glad they didn't have it when I was going.
There's a
I
lot
was
of
skinny and liked to run, but I didn't like to run that much.
There's a lot of pressure on those kickers, though. It could be a lonely life if they start missing those field goals.
Run all the way down the field, kick the ball in the goal, and they say, no, he was offsides. And you look around and go, offsides? If he ran that far, y'all let him get the goal.
Alan, tell us, and we'll let you go, and we'll get on to your assistants. And
We got to look out front.
Oh,
Earl Hammond. We're gonna have Earl on one of these days, but he thought it was today again.
Alan, tell us a little bit about how much soccer has changed from the time that you played in 1986, starting the program, until where it is at today.
Oh my goodness!
Is that a hard question?
No, it's not a hard question. It's changed considerably. I can remember the 2 years. It was my junior year when we started, and I told the boys last night, I can count on one hand the number of games we won in 2 years.
Oh, mate.
I mean, less than 5. I think we might have won 3 or 4 games in 2 full seasons. And there wasn't a mercy rule then.
Right.
I've been on a team that was beat by 15, 16 goals.
Oh, mate.
And we were just not that good. I mean, it was just starting out. Most of the athletes at the school in the fall were playing football because that's what they've grown up with. And we just weren't very good, skill-wise. And
well, you're just starting the program, and, it was new to everybody.
Right. But I think now, over the years, Rhett coached that high school team for
numerous
14,
years.
15, 16 years, something like that. I mean, it was a long time. And through that, and now with me, I think we've got a program to where when we go to play somebody, it's not as if they're looking at us as a easy win. I think we're to the point where, in 1987, if we went somewhere to play, if we played Tillman, well, there wasn't much question about the outcome of that.
Right.
Or Fort Campbell or whoever. And I mean, we've still got a ways we can go to build our program a little bit, but I think we're a pretty solid program, and I think most of the teams on our schedule don't necessarily look at us as an easy win. I think they know it's going to be competitive.
I was going to ask you, how do you stack up in the district this year?
It's going to be us and North again, I hope.
North.
That's what is projected.
You got Hopkins County Central, Dawson
Right.
Springs, and Madisonville North.
Right.
Used to be we was in with Lyon County and Trigg County.
Yeah.
And, that was a very heated rivalry when Lyon County and Caldwell got together. And
Yes, it was.
And we
I
used to
can
have those
remember.
matches on a Friday night. And, I
Yeah.
mean, they packed the stadium up
Yeah.
here at the Butler. So,
I remember that well.
yeah.
Yeah.
I take something different real quick when you were talking about the teams just starting up. I remember when I was in high school, believe it or not, as a sophomore, we loaded up a team one night and took to Marshall County and played their varsity. We took our JV and played them. You wouldn't think that about Marshall County, and we did the same thing with Christian County.
How about
Because
that?
they just started the program and they wouldn't let our
Yeah.
varsity play them.
Yeah.
So, I know what you're talking about when you did that.
Yeah.
Well, Alan, we sure appreciate you coming in. Let us holler at Matt, if we would, over here.
All right.
And we'll get his take on things. And Matt, welcome to the show. And
Good to be here.
Just tell us a little bit about your responsibilities
Thank you.
and how your team's looking.
Well, traditionally, as things usually play out in the soccer world, the assistant to the head coach of the varsity team kind of takes the reins of the junior varsity team. And so I've been working a lot with the youngsters more so this year than the older ones. I still work with the older ones too, and sometimes we'll do big group workouts. But we have a lot of really promising youngsters on the team. Really impressed with some 7th graders and 8th graders, believe it or not, that I think are going to develop into some fine athletes that are going to be a must-see, especially, if not this year, especially when they get older and into that varsity level. We're working hard. I'm trying to get a mentality going in them right now to where it doesn't matter who we're playing. We're going to work, just the whole time. Whenever I grew up playing soccer, I actually only played varsity. I only played soccer at all my junior and senior year. That was the first and second year that Alan Shaffer actually had taken over as varsity head coach. Mm-hmm. So we have kind of a deeply rooted relationship. That was also the first time that Caldwell had ever won any sort of soccer championship. We won our first district championship my senior year. And so we both share kind of that bond of being like he is the sensei, and I am the student still learning from the sensei. And so even
like
now,
Gator and me.
even now, 10 years later, it has not changed. So it's been a real trip. It's been real nice. This is my first year as the boys coach or as a boys coach. And so we've had a fantastic time getting to know the system and kind of setting those expectations for our new players and our older players alike.
Well, I know Alan's proud to have you because when Gator and I coached too, if we didn't have any extra help, when you run practice, all your other kids are over there throwing rocks or, if you don't have somebody to work with them. And they're out there really go home at night and they wonder, Dad says, well, how'd you do in practice today? Oh, I hit 2 or 3 people with a rock. That's about all they had to say because if you don't have good help or people to help you, that's –
Oh, sure.
And I know Alan appreciates it.
Oh, yeah. Students, it doesn't matter. Kids are going to be kids no matter.
Right.
They're going to find a way to entertain themselves
Yes.
if you don't show them something productive to do. And so that's kind of a goal and a mindset that we go into each practice with and each game with is that we're going to establish a goal. We're going to try to work toward that goal and just try and get a little better every day. So we can get just a little bit better every day by the end of the year. You're much better than where you started. So that's kind of the mentality we've taken and the position we want to take on it.
That's good. Tell us how important it is to have a feeder system. I know in football, Youth Incorporated really does a great job of getting their players, and I'm assuming that Youth Incorporated runs the youth soccer league or the youth, and that's got to help you. And once they get to middle school, I think middle school has soccer now, and I mean once you get them from one level to the next level, it's only going to help you on the varsity level.
Absolutely. I mean, it's extremely important. You all know just from experience with football and what have you, but having those fundamentals kind of put into motion, even, just thinking of it in terms of school, being taught to read in kindergarten helps you drastically whenever you're trying to analyze stuff at the college level, if you move into the college level or even high school. So it helps being able to build on those fundamentals and those principles that were established at the younger ages. And I can't say enough good things about the people that work around those kids. They're just top notch. And obviously you don't do it for the money. You do it because you genuinely want to try and make a difference for somebody and do a good thing for somebody. So I can't say enough good things about that.
Well, Matt, you got something?
I was just going to say we appreciate it, Matt, and thank you so much for coming in.
No, thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Okay.
You've come to the Gator Cowherd Show.
Okay, our last guest here, and certainly not least, is Eric Jacobs. He is the head girls soccer coach, being the first-year head coach. I believe last year you were the boys assistant.
I was the boys assistant
assistant.
Year, yes.
Well, we want to welcome you to the show and give us your little input of how your team's doing.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, first off. And our team, it's been an exciting start to the season. I know we all came in with high expectations, especially this being my first year as a head coach at the varsity level. I've had a couple of my girls. I've actually coached the middle school girls for 2 years. And so I've got a pretty familiar relationship with a couple of the younger ones. With some of the older ones, it's a new journey. It's been fun, though, and I know that this season we've got a challenging schedule, especially early. We've played some heavy hitters like McCracken and Henderson, but we've come into it with the mentality of no matter what team we're playing, no matter what the situation, we're going to fight 100%, and we're going to build to try and get that district championship.
Well, Eric, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
I'm from Nashville.
From Nashville.
From Nashville.
And what is your playing background in soccer?
I actually didn't play a ton in high school. I would kind of mess around and all that. Never actually played a whole lot of varsity. Hockey was more my sport. Played that, ice hockey down in Nashville.
It's a whole lot like hockey.
Yeah, there's some similarities, and I actually played 2 years of collegiate rugby at UT Martin. And so soccer was it's always been something that I loved. I would watch the games all the time, learn about it as much as I could, play as much as I could. And so it's kind of nice because I feel like I look at it from a different perspective than sometimes someone who played a lot of varsity in high school or collegiate, because I look at it more from a coach's standpoint and a tactical standpoint than I do a player standpoint. And so I think that that's kind of a unique perspective that sometimes other coaches don't necessarily have.
Talk a little bit about some of your players, some of the, your outstanding players. And
Yeah, we have quite a few this year. Skill is definitely not something that we lack. We've got on our back line, I've been really impressed with Bella McConnell, and she's been starting for me as a freshman. And I know she hasn't been playing soccer that much, and playing the center back position is probably the most important position on the field. That's kind of your general. That's kind of who locks down and takes control of your whole defense. She's been really impressive. Matea Butts has stepped up in that center back role and been really impressive. Sarah Grace Carnahan's another one on our back line. Meriden Janina. All of them have come in and done a lot of work. McKenna Jackson. In our midfield, we've got Mackenzie Smiley and Taylor Freeman, who have both returned, and both of them are excellent players. Mackenzie's one you can always count on to get you a goal or two during a game. Taylor's one that can really take control of that midfield. McKenna Crowley is another one who, as a senior, has put in a lot of work and who's come in and can really be a game changer. And then we have a lot of speed and a lot of youth up top.
Good. I was listening to I believe it was last night?
Last night.
I was listening to Jeff McDaniels and whoever, I forget.
Dennis
Stevens was on
yeah.
with him, and they do a great job giving credit for all your girls that play, and they know a lot about it. They did a wonderful job, and they mentioned one girl's name that they felt like was one of the best probably athletes in county, and I'm not for sure which name it was.
That would, if I had
Freeman or Freilich maybe, or do you have a Freilich?
Taylor is probably
That
the
might have
one,
been
and
who it
then just raw athletic ability would definitely be Zaria Blount. That girl, athletic ability is not something she lacks. She can run for days.
Well, they acted like she could probably play about anything she wanted to play.
Oh yeah,
So,
definitely.
well, we know that you got a very big win last night against Dawson Springs, a district game. And what's the district going to come down to this season?
Yeah, that's always nice to come out and start district play out with a win. We're hoping that just like the boys, we're in the same boat as them, that it's probably going to come down to us in North in the championship. That's not to, like I said, to discredit Dawson or Central. Both of them, they fight hard. I don't know too much about Central. I haven't played them yet. I've only seen them on the boys' side. So that'll be a challenge coming up. But historically, it's been us in North, and that seems to continue. But I know this year we're hungry for it, and we definitely do not want any more district runner-up trophies. Those are we have way too many of those. We could give a lot of those away and I think be okay. So this year we're really shooting for that district championship and nothing less.
that's what we like to hear. You're being positive. I know that'll be great for your kids. You must do a real good job with them. That's wonderful.
Yeah, that's something we've really looked at. Like I said, we played some tough teams this year. We played Henderson, who was an Elite 8 team last year. They graduated 2 girls, had the number 3 scorer in the state. McCracken is always a good team when you're that big of a school. The talent pool you have to pull from is unbelievable. We play Apollo tomorrow morning, another strong school. We still have Graves County. We still have Ohio, Hopkinsville, North, UHA again, Callaway. It's a tough road ahead, but it's one that builds you up to get you ready for that district championship.
Well, it sounds like you've got a very challenging schedule ahead of you, and
You better plug your JV team, or you're going to be in trouble.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Can't forget JV. The JV team has been doing unbelievable. They've been putting in a ton of work. Ashley Holt, our assistant coach, has been doing great things with them. They actually have not lost yet. They've knocked out Henderson. They knocked out McCracken. I didn't know this, but apparently a couple of the Henderson girls were a little upset that they lost to Caldwell County. So that's, I'm sure, a confidence boost for our JV girls. But yeah, super proud of them. And I know I've already pulled a couple of those freshmen that play JV up to the varsity level to start working them in. And Jada Boyd was one last night that she got her first taste of varsity minutes, and she looked good out there. And she's one I think she keeps working. She's going to do some good things.
Good. Coach, appreciate you coming in, and we want to wish you and the Lady Tigers the best of luck, and hopefully we'll bring that district championship home and advance into regional play. And once again, thank you.
Eric, it was nice meeting you. We met you at the ball game the
Yeah.
other night.
Yeah.
Sit
Yeah.
behind us.
He sat behind us, and we didn't know who he was.
We were just hoping after the way we were acting that night you would come.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, that's right. No, I knew it wouldn't be a boring time.
But Will Brown introduced us to you, and he said you're a fine man. So if Will says that, we know
I
you are.
appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you for having me on. It's been great talking to you
Yeah,
guys.
thank you for
Very
coming
much.
in.
Look forward to seeing you girls get after it.
For sure. Yeah, I'll see if we can bring a couple more wins in that district championship.
There you go.
Good deal.
Appreciate
Good
it.
luck.
Thank you guys.
We're going to take a short break and hear from our sponsors, and then we'll be back to talk a little football.
Hello again, everyone. Brent Ladd here with your Trice Hughes Pigskin Pick of the Week. This week's pick is a dandy, a brand new 2016 Buick LaCrosse, white frost in color with leather and moonroof. This new Buick LaCrosse is 16% off. That's right, Brent Ladd's Pick of the Week is a new 2016 Buick LaCrosse with 16% off. Come by Trice Hughes and see me, Brent Ladd, to discover the luxury of a new Buick LaCrosse today. Go Tigers!
You already knew that Trice Hughes in Princeton has the #1 service department in Western Kentucky, but did you know that when it's time for a new set of tires, we have you covered for that also? Our tire experts, Jeff Brandon, Garrett Harper, and Kathy Capps, have a combined 84 years of experience, and they are ready to serve you on any make and model vehicle. You'll be surprised at our competitive pricing on name brands such as BF Goodrich, Michelin, Goodyear, Yokohama, Cooper, and Uniroyal. Trice Hughes is also the only tire dealer in town to offer the economy price Kenda brand tire. All tires are road force balanced, providing you with the most comfortable ride possible, and rotations are free as long as you own your tires. Call the tire experts at Trice Hughes today. Quotes are free and the deals are worth the call. Trice Hughes Incorporated, Highway 91 North in Princeton. So you're sitting at home, relaxing after a hard day at work. You would like to shop for a vehicle, but simply didn't have the time today. Well, thanks to modern technology and your friends at Trice Hughes, you can pick out the perfect vehicle, get an estimated trade-in value, and even submit a credit application from the comfort of your living room. Visit TriceHughes.com, and in just a few short minutes, you could be on your way to a new car, truck, or SUV. Trice Hughes Incorporated makes it simple to shop from the comfort of your own home. That's TriceHughes.com, Highway 91 North in Princeton. What does your service appointment at Trice Hughes do? Glad you asked. Here at Trice Hughes, we give a true 27-point inspection with each vehicle service. We change your oil, check fluids in your transmission, coolant system, power steering, washing fluid, and brakes. Then we inspect your tires, wiper blades, brakes, air filter, belts, hoses, drive boots, and exhaust system. Shoo, that's a lot. Keeping your vehicle maintained at Trice Hughes in Princeton is your best chance of a long and happy vehicle life. Call today for your appointment, 270-365-5522, Trice Hughes Incorporated, Highway 91 North in Princeton. Trice Hughes in Princeton wants to remind everyone that we have a full line of genuine GM and Mopar parts and accessories for your car, truck, or SUV. We also offer Retrax bed covers. You have to see to believe how awesome they are. WeatherTech floor mats are a must for folks with little people and moms and dads that want to keep their entire carpet protected. Make your truck or SUV stand out with chrome accessories such as 20-inch wheels and tires, running boards, mirror covers, and door handles. Need a gift idea? Adding remote start will surely please your loved one. Call Shauna today for all your accessory needs. 270-365-5522. Trice Hughes Incorporated, Highway 91 North in Princeton.
Back here at WPKY 103.3 FM, the Tiger. DT and myself are going to talk a little bit about tonight's football game. But before we do that, I want to report on last night's middle school football games. And the 7th and 8th grade were both victorious. And, of course, we had Coach Kukihiko in last week as one of our guests. And I went out and watched them play in the 8th grade game, and they really played well and beat a good Paducah Tillman and some really good athletes, 30-0, and I believe the 7th grade won 20-6. So it's good to see both of those teams get a win last night. And
I apologize. I didn't make it. I had to do something, but I talked to you about the games, and you said they were about what you just said a minute ago. Paducah was pretty much out-coached, it looked like, as far as, you know.
Wasn't real well organized
Yeah.
as like we were, and that's a credit to our coaching
Exactly.
staff. And our kids were in the right places at the right times, and at times Paducah wasn't. And we took advantage of it, and we had some awful big plays. I know Tate Van Hoosier caught two touchdown passes last night.
Really? Good deal.
And awful proud of him, and awful proud of all of them. And, we want to wish them the best of luck in the coming weeks as well. Well, let's talk about tonight's game. We've got a number 5 ranked football team, and Franklin Simpson Wildcats coming in here to Tiger Stadium. We know last year, after coming off a real close ball game to Christian County, we went down to Franklin Simpson and we beat them pretty handily. And I didn't think they probably didn't expect that, and I know I didn't expect it. But anytime you go to Franklin, it's one of the toughest places you can go and play at. And we were able to come away with a big win. And now the shoe's on the other foot, I guess. And Franklin's going to be coming up here. And I had a coach once tell me years ago that you see your biggest improvements from week 1 to week 2. And I'm anxious to see, how we responded after that loss last week against Christian County. We played well at times, and, we just made a few critical mistakes, and we've got a lot of potential, as you mentioned earlier. But we're going to have to be on our A game tonight because Franklin Simpson's a good quality program.
Well, when we went to Christian the other night down on the track, excuse me, we were talking to a few people, and I talked to a guy who is, it's Hoptown's athletic director.
Greg Cavanaugh.
And they had just had gone to Franklin to scrimmage, I believe, or they might have played.
They played. His brother's the head coach at Portland.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, he was telling me that they thought they were going to go down there and run over them too, but he says they have 8 of the best up front linemen. He said they're 4 offensive linemen and they're 4 defensive linemen. They're different people. They don't go both ways. But he said they were the best he's seen in a long time.
I'm looking down the roster right here, and you mentioned our offensive and defensive line. They go from left tackle, Cole Kirby at 6'4", 289 pounds. Their left guard is 6'3", 253, and a sophomore. Their center is 6 foot 235 and a senior. Their right guard is 6'3", 227 and a senior, and their right tackle is 6'1", 240 and a senior. Now that's a high school line. A lot of small colleges don't have kids that big.
Well, it's been many years since I was at Western, but what was that left tackle size? 6'4"?
6'4", 289. I believe he's one of the top prospects.
6'4", 289, and when we played Grambling, my left tackle was 6'1", 199.
Oh, Lord, it's come a long way.
Unreal.
Yeah, and a lot of them don't go both ways. I was looking over here at their defense, and they're not quite. The Kirby kid, Cole Kirby, goes both ways, and Jordan Bass. I think those are the 2 on the defensive line and offensive line that go both ways. So, they've got some outstanding size up there, and plus they got some good skill people. They run an offense that we don't see very often. They run the wing T, and how hard that is. You got to get penetration in order to stop them from running the ball. And
then if you over penetrate,
they're going to burn you. That's right. So you really got to read your keys on defense, and that's one area I feel good about with Caldwell is their defense has played much better, and they played well against Christian County, and they got some hitters out there on that at defense, and we know as well as any, defense wins your big games for you, and we're going to have a stellar performance tonight out of that defense, and I feel like we will. Offensively, we had some really good spurts there, and we put some points on the board. You think you get beat 50-34 and you score 34 points, you think that's enough to win, but the type of offenses this day and time. Of course, Christian County runs basically the same type of offense we do, and they're able to get people out in space, and they have some of the best receivers I think we'll see this year.
But the wing T also, you hated it and I did too. Richie, it would drive him absolutely crazy just trying to find out where the ball was going to practice.
Curling too, yeah.
You try to get your taxi team or whatever you call them to run the right plays, and it's tough. They work on that stuff constantly all day and hide the ball, and it's a tough offense, but it is fun to watch. I don't know how fun it'll be to watch on the other team, but
that's right. And we know, Franklin Simpson is probably playing in one of the toughest districts in Class 4A. They're in the same district with South Warren, who went undefeated last year and won the state. They're in with Allen County Scottsville. They're in with Warren East and, I believe Warren Central. And they've got a very competitive district, much like we do. And, even though they got to travel quite a ways to get here, and we hope that takes a toll on them, and maybe they won't get off the bus.
Yeah, all their district games are within 25 miles.
That's right. And they've got, a good quality football team, we know, and Coach Preston, I've talked to him on numerous occasions. He's the head coach at Franklin Simpson, and they were coming into this season expecting big things. And we mentioned earlier one of their outstanding skill people is Josiah Roby, who is the nephew of Joker Phillips, who is no stranger to this area. And, we know that he brings a lot to the table, and we're going to have to really key on him.
What class is he now?
He's a senior.
He's a senior?
Yeah. They're primarily a senior-laden ball club. I believe their fullback is a sophomore, and he's 6 foot and 206 pounds, and their quarterback, the Caldwell kid, is a senior, and they don't throw the ball a whole lot, but when they do, they're very successful in throwing it. And, of course, when you run the wing tee, that sets up your play-action passes, and we're really going to have to be on our best game tonight.
You know what that sounds like? It sounds like back when you and I were coaching playing Mayfield. That's all they did, run it, and then throw it one time, and it was touchdown.
That's right. And, those are hard offenses to defend against. And I know talking to Coach Barnes this week that he doesn't want them to have the ball all night. And that, in that type of offense, it's not really a catch-up type offense. And we need to hit them quick, and make them play from behind to force them into doing some things they're not used to doing.
The one thing about our offense, too, is we can score quick, but sometimes that's not a good thing because that gives them the ball right back.
Yeah. It keeps your defense out there quite a while. But, anyway, it's going to be an outstanding game, and we're really looking forward to it. And, again, as we mentioned, we need everybody here in Princeton and Caldwell County to come out and support these young men. And what else is there to do tonight except to go to a high school football game? And, I know they'll come out in large numbers, and we need to really be enthusiastic and pull these kids through.
And whatever sport it is, we've talked to soccer and volleyball and everything today.
That's right.
Try to do your best to support all of them.
And, we still got some more fall sports to go.
Yes.
We still got the boys and girls golf team that we need to get the coaches in here, boys and girls cross country, and we're going to work on them in the coming weeks. And we want to give every athlete that's in the Caldwell County and Princeton the type of
support
and
that coverage.
That's right.
But I tell you what, this cross country, I was skinny all my life, but I sure didn't want to run that far. I'm impressed with these kids that do that. They run. They don't just run around the track. They run in the woods and wherever else they have to on their track meets. That's what they are. They're running through the.
Well, we'd be down there practicing.
Yeah.
And we'd see them running down the hills. They run up hills, down hills in the heat of the day.
Yeah.
And we've had some outstanding cross-country runners, the Meeks girls. And
did a great job.
Yeah, and we've had some over the years that have really gone on and done well, and even furthered their education through scholarships. And, that's one thing that we're proud of here, that as small of a school and community we are, we have a lot of kids that go on to college that are enabled to extend their education through athletics. And we want to keep instilling that into them, and the quality of kids that we get here, we're awful proud of.
And hopefully the county will keep supporting those kids when they go to college, and they'll come back and be our age before you know it and still be in the county and helping us.
That's right. And again, you can't say enough. We need to keep the people here in Caldwell County, so many of them, and I know your kids are gone, and most of my kids, I got one that still lives here, but, they go on to bigger and better things, and hopefully we can keep them around here in our community, and we just hope that things work out.
Some of the fields they go into, they just can't come back to Princeton. That's understood.
Yeah.
So, but the ones who can and want to, that's fine. Just like Coda. Coda's come back here, and he could have gone anywhere he wanted
Right.
to. Smart as he is, he could have done whatever he wanted to do, and still can, but we hope he stays.
Well, I'll tell you, we've been really blessed here in this community to have the type of quality young men and young women that we produce, and that's a credit to the parents and to the other people in the community of watching out for each other. And there's not a better supportive community that I've ever been with than there is here in Caldwell County and Princeton. And they just they care about you, and they love sports and athletics and academics, and we're awful proud of that.
One other thing real quick, I do not have the names. I ran off and forgot them, but Coach Pepper got 10 football players to volunteer after practice on Monday, I believe, to go down and help with the new city park. They spread
right.
mulch. I think their pictures were in the paper this week, but they worked for 2 hours, and they worked hard as they could. I wouldn't have done it after football. They're awful good kids.
And that's all of our athletes are like that.
I'm going to step in here and add something about.
Don't be coming in here interrupting our show.
No, because you're talking about what a great community we have and how everybody pulls together. One of the girls on the varsity soccer team, tragedy hit their family and their house burned down.
That's what I read about that.
Yeah, McKenna Jackson, and it was just so sudden. It happened like 4:30 in the morning, and luckily nobody was hurt, but they lost everything. And as soon as the word got out that one of our soccer girls was in need, we started like just a little donation, and I took up some money for McKenna and collected over $500.
Oh man!
Just in one spot.
In one spot,
Right.
and then and that was just her soccer family.
Right.
And then now you expand that out to what the community has done for her family. It's just wow. It's just like, man,
Yeah.
how we all come together when someone is in need and when tragedy hits like that. And so the soccer girls were able to present McKenna with a little gift bag full of gift cards and stuff like that to help her, restock, because a teenage girl, that's important to have.
Yeah, you can give a guy some shorts and a pair of socks and tell him to go home.
No, but and so I was overwhelmed by the amount of support from the soccer family that was given to McKenna. So it's just
that's wonderful.
That is
just a small example.
right.
That's
And
great.
DT knows as well. When we coached, if there was ever anything we needed, all we had to do is ask. And a lot of times you don't want to ask, but they'll. I remember when we didn't have any sleds.
Yes.
And I had one man, Randy Durrell, took him about 3 or 4 hours to go out and take up enough money to buy the sleds and the materials that we needed.
That was over about $5,000.
Yeah.
But anyway, we know everybody in this town is very generous.
Let me tell you, 2 seasons ago at middle school, when we opened up the concession stand for the first middle school game, and we went in there, the refrigerator was out. There was no fixing it, and we're like, oh no, what are we going to do? So I put a post on Facebook that just said, anybody have a refrigerator for sale? The concession stand needs one. We're in desperate need. Within an hour, King's Great Pie Plus showed up with a brand new refrigerator from an anonymous donor. We were flabbergasted. Everybody thought it was me. I was like, nope, wasn't me. But
Since this is our show, I could probably use one for my garage. My old one, see if I get a call.
You probably will.
But
All right,
the good thing about what we're talking about is 90% of the people don't even want their name brought up.
right.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No, they don't.
Yes.
And we can't say enough about this community. And and once again, I want to encourage you, people out there, to get your advertisement in to WPKY 103.3 FM, so we can keep doing these type of shows and thank the community for all that they've done. We know you're going to be out at the football game tonight. You better bring you a fan a little bit. It may be a little hot out there, but
and of course, if you can't make it, if you're elderly
Oh, yeah.
or sick or whatever, and you can't make it, you can always tune
in.
WPKYonline.com.
That's right. And so many people don't know that. I'm trying to get the
word
word
out,
out that we're streaming these games live online, and they can watch them and listen to the play-by-play as well. And we're just very proud of this radio station and what you and Joe and the Hugheses and Lucinda has done. And we're going to wrap this thing up here today, and I want to thank you for tuning in and viewing and listening to our show. We'll see you again next Friday at 8 a.m.
Jordan, thanks once again for running it for us.
New car and truck buyers, listen up. It's the time of year that the 16s are rolling out and the 17s are rolling in. At Trice Hughes Incorporated, we offer 7 new American car lines to choose from, awesome trade-in allowance,